tiny polynomial, but sometimes when you do your P's and Q's, you have a pretty long list that you come up with. And then we have to find one that works, and then we have to do the synthetic division, and sometimes we have to do synthetic division more than once. And so it can take a little time. I just want to stress, just because we have this method, that's what we do when our old strategies don't work. You know, before, we solved a lot of polynomials by factoring. And that's still an option on the table. I don't want you to forget about that just because I threw P's and Q's in here as well. So this section, we're just kind of going back over some problems that we may have done before. If I wanted to solve this one, I could do the P's and Q's and do all of that. But how else could I solve this? Grouping. We put the first two together. Remember with grouping, you can't put it after a subtraction, so I'm going to write this as plus and then a negative 4x minus 12. So what comes out of the first parenthesis? And you're left with? And the second parenthesis? Bx plus 3. And grouping works when these parentheses match. We have two terms now. They both have the x plus 3, so we can factor that out. And then what are you left with? X squared. And then what would you do?
Factor that.
How does x squared minus 4 factor? Okay. So what are my actual solutions?
Negative 3, positive 2, negative 2.
Yep. So, if I asked you to graph this, we have been graphing these. We would need a little more information, but we can get it. What would the end behavior of this graph be? Y-intercept. If you plug in 0 for all of your x's, you can do it in the factored form, or we can do it up here. If all my x's are 0, what do we get? Here are my zeros. Would my graph bounce or go through?
Through.
So we hit -3, -2, positive 2. Y-axis at -12. Starts down here, goes through, comes back, it's that. Go through and hit this one, and we get our final graph. It's not the prettiest graph I've ever made. Can you look at that graph and tell me where it is greater than 0? What do I mean by greater than 0?
The ones that are above that.
So where is that?
Negative
No,
3 to
negative
negative 2. And then 2 to infinity.
And why did I use parentheses instead of brackets?
Because it isn't.
Yeah, I didn't have an equal to.
Oh, equal to,
Yeah, so equal to is give me brackets, but infinity always gets a parenthesis. Where is this less than 0?
Negative, but infinity to negative 7. And then 2 to negative 2? I mean negative 2 to 2.
Good. All right, that's all I'm going to do today. We'll do some more of these.